introduce you to an all good new supersonic superstar friend, Dixon Wright. He's an amazing guy. He's changing so many people's lives. I really love Dixon Wright. He's a special guy if you get to meet him. He is a technologist at heart, even though he's been working in the financial and insurance industry all his life. He loves gadgets, he loves technology, and he is a visionary in terms of the transformation that technology could do for this world. Dixon, I'm going to let you take over the panel. I'm going to go in hiding mode, and you all have a great session.
Andreas, thank you very much. And Pete, thank you very much for your conversation. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering why public safety is next to new financial tools. And the answer to that is very simple. The people that you see on this panel are all working on modernizing the grid. And it's a huge transition from the old monolithic analog system, just like we're trying to change and transition our police force and our response. We're trying to transition the grid. And what Pete said was a couple of key things. It's a direct interlock. One is notification, and two is situational awareness. So when we look at the people that are on this panel and the financing and the various tools on building the grid, there's a couple of things we have to recognize. One, we're trying to create a business environment to allow people to build solar, clean energy projects, any clean energy project that could connect to the grid. But the other thing we have to recognize is that data interoperability creates vulnerabilities. And so if you talk about public safety, the grid is probably the number one thing our nation has to be careful on from a public safety point of view, because it can be attacked by fires, it could be attacked by cyber crimes. At the end of the day, when we're building resiliency, we have to also build effective business tools. And so what we talk about resiliency, it was kind of coincidental. Just last week, General Wesley Clark and Congressman Darrell Issa just issued a very comprehensive committee report on resiliency. And recommendation number 5 was you got to have standards, because you cannot track the grid if you don't have consistent standards across the grid. So the first thing for public safety is situational awareness, notification. So as we build our grid on the financial market side and our contractors, we have to recognize that we have to build it in concert with our public safety, resiliency, cyber protection, and all of the things that go with it. So our panel today is going to talk about how the DOE has really stepped forward with a number of programs emanating from the Sunshot program and various other national labs, in which have developed the ability for industry to collectively and collaboratively measure and monitor how our public grid is working, how our contractors are building it, how our insurance companies are insuring it, how our surety bonds are guaranteeing the financial performances. But it all ties back to the public safety. The grid has to be safe. So as we build it and we look at the financial tools that are out there, the DOE has funded a program called Orange Button, in which created the data standard for tracking and monitoring how systems are performing. At the core of resiliency is that capability. At the core of putting together new financial products is that same capability. So today I've asked some of the people that have been very active in the Orange Button, which is a collaboration effort of many, to join with me and share with us exactly what they're doing from the big picture with Al Berkeley, who started originally at NASDAQ and helped put together the data standard for tracking on publicly traded companies, to Jan, who's putting together actual implementation for building residential solar, to John, who's building the financing tools, to Salesforce, which is creating a platform that allows any number of programmers. And from public utilities that are struggling with both the bureaucracy of the past while trying to modernize for the future. It's a challenge that we all collectively have undertaken. And hopefully, as you listen to our panelists, you realize we're not at the beginning, we're actually in the end zone. We are got a lot of resources. The taxonomy is in place, people are using it, and you're going to start to see a resilient, safe environment for our grid. So my first introduction is to really the gentleman who started it all for me, Al Berkeley, who has been active in the data interoperability scene for 1 or 2 weeks. Al, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're doing on the big screen to help transition to digital.
Yeah.
it by, on this panel are different members of the ecosystem, from the bigger picture of from the UN with Al Berkeley, to the residential, to the solar, to the utility scale, to the utility itself, to the banks. We are all saying the same thing. If we had standardized data, we could do our job better, faster, cheaper. And as we started off with Pete's comment, he said the most important thing for public safety is notification and situational awareness. The same is true for maintaining our grid. And when we put these tools in to build the grid, we also have those tools to guarantee the grid's resiliency. So what I wanted to throw it back to the panel, if there's any comments you'd like to follow up with, or if anybody has any questions from the audience. Come up to the end of our hour, and I just want to thank the DOE again. The DOE has been extremely aggressive in its Sunshot program and multiple national lab efforts to bring together collaborations of public and private interests and try to bring together that kind of success. So as a close, everybody here comes from different parts of the ecosystem, but we can all work together to help everybody move forward. So thank you again very much for the new financial tools panel. We'll let you sign off.